Hello, everyone. My name is Ediya Francis Kwame, and welcome to Ediya Pill. As we dive into the 7 holistic aspects of living, Ediya Pill started with a mental recalibration series, and I'm proud today to bring to you the episode 6 of this mental recalibration series, which is titled System Thinking for Your Life Design. In episode 1, we spoke about victim thinking versus builder thinking, where we said you should have an abundance mentality and not a scarcity mentality, because the rising of you should not cause the downfall of others. In episode 2, we talked about systems versus emotion, the reason why you should structure your life based on systems and not just emotion, because emotions are players. Whenever you lose that feeling, that motivation, you will stop. But when you base your life based on system, you continue going till the why you started is finished. In episode 3, we talked about strategic decision making, where we gave the Ediya Pill strategic decision making framework, that when you are making decision, you should think about the long-term decision, you should think about the long-term consequences, you should also make decision devoid of emotion, you should also reset and reflect on decisions so that they always get better and better. In episode 4, we talked about focus versus distraction, that we said more at times when you want to destroy the vision of an unfocused person, you don't just take the vision away from them. No, you would add more vision to their vision, and because they are unfocused, they will be distracted somewhere along the line and then forget about what they were initially doing. Let me say something that might completely change how you see your life. Your life today is not out of control. No, your life, it is not unlucky. No, your life is not random, but your life is engineered. It is perfectly engineered, yes, to produce the kind of results you are currently getting. So if your finances are unstable, there is a system behind that. If your productivity is also inconsistent, there is also a system behind that. If your growth is also slow, there is also a system behind that. And now, here is the problem, right? Because most people are trying to change their lives without changing the system that produces their results. And then most people do not think or plan their life in systems. They think in goals. I want to be successful. I want to be disciplined. I want to be wealthy. But goals do not change lives. Systems do change lives. The real problem here is that most people rely on effort. Yes, I will try it harder. I will be more serious next time. I will stay disciplined this time. But effort without systems always breaks. Why does this happen? Because effort depends on energy, and energy fluctuates, it goes up and down. So people set goals every year, and every year many of those goals remain unmet, not because these goals that people set are impossible, no, but because the systems required to build them were never built. So your life becomes like high effort, burnout, inconsistency, then you restart again. This is why most people feel like they are trying, but their life is not progressing, because they are fighting a system they never designed. And if your daily structure does not support your future will never be built. I want you to pause this video and think about this and answer this honestly, right? What area of your life feels like a constant struggle? Perhaps it can be money, focus, discipline, time management, your habits, your health, your productivity, your growth. Now, ask yourself, what systems are producing these results? Because whether you design them or not, they exist. You don't rise to the level of your goals. No, you fall to the level of your system. What therefore is system thinking? System thinking is the ability to see your life as a set of connected processes, right? They are not just random events, no, they are not isolated actions, but they are patterns. For example, if you sleep late every night, you wake up tired, you start your day slowly, and then you lose productive hours of your day. You feel behind, you become stressed. That is the system you are building. And unless you change the system, the outcome would repeat daily. Builders understand this, so they don't just react to problems. No, they redesign their system. And the acronym for system is you save yourself time, energy, and money. Most people already have systems. They haven't designed those systems intentionally to lead them to the future they desire. So, in the next step, we are going to create real world exposure of systems. Let's now bring this to the real world, right? Perhaps you are a student. A struggling student would say, I need to study more. So they feel motivated and then they start strong. Somewhere along the line, they get distracted, they stop what they started, they feel guilty, and then they restart again. That is the system they try to build. But a builder asks, what system is currently causing me not to study consistently? Perhaps they've not scheduled study period, they constantly use their phone, they constantly follow notification, or they have a poor study environment, and then they fix those systems and you find out that your performance would improve. Perhaps you are a career professional would say, I want to be more productive, but you wake up early, they check their phone, they rush to work, they do scattered work because they've not planned, they've not reflected. And at the end of the day, they get low productivity, they get stressed, they repeat this process again. And that is the system. It is not just bad luck that they end up being unproductive. No, but a builder of systems acts, what system is wasting my time? Perhaps they have no clear priorities. They have constant interruption here and there. They have no deep work structure, right? And they now face these systems and their output improves. Perhaps you are an entrepreneur. A business owner would say, I want more income. So at that instant, they feel motivated. They start something, they earn money, and then they spend impulsively. They have no tracking, no savings, no investments, and then they become financially pressured. They repeat this again and they feel like they don't have the income they need to do their project, they need to start something again. That is the system they are building. But a builder would always ask, what system is limiting my growth? Perhaps there is no consistent marketing, perhaps there is no customer tracking, perhaps there is no financial structure. And then you face those systems and you find out that your revenue improves. Whenever you are able to ask the why behind the why you are getting a result or you are not getting a result to the seventh why, you hit a genius. Yes, you end up becoming a genius. So let's say I don't have money, right? So why am I not having money? Oh, okay. It's because of maybe my programming. So why was I programmed that way? Is it a culture? Is it a something? Or okay, I have too many kids, or perhaps maybe I spend impulsively on unnecessary things. I've not created assets. Why have I not created? So you end up hitting the fifth, sixth, seventh why, and you know the root cause of your problem. You end up becoming a genius, and then you go out to also help others come out of those problems. Let's now reframe this the kingdom way, because even in life, even in purpose, systems matter. Yes, order matter, structure matter, consistency matter, because growth is not random. No, growth follows patterns, and builders understand that stewardship required structure. You cannot pray for increase alone. No, you cannot pray for increase and ignore the systems required to sustain those increase, because what you cannot manage, you cannot multiply. Builders don't just desire change. No, they design, they change, they desire. And we are now going to design that change. Now, I want us to make this practical because you don't fix your life all at once. No, it took a long time for you to get to where you are. So you redesign your life system by system, and builders design their life across four key systems. The first is time system. Time management is rarely laziness, it is lack of structure. And the problem is not unplanned days. The problem mostly is reactive behavior. You always react to certain habits, you always react to certain behavior. So let's create a daily structure. When you wake up, fix a start time. When you work, you block time for deep work, you block time for deep learning. No distraction, notifications, everything off. When you learn, you block time for learning, no form of distraction. When you reflect and you rest, you assign a reflecting time and a resting time. You plan, you structure things. Your time system determines your productivity, and your time must be assigned or else it will be wasted. So you have to be intentional about your time because we all have 24 hours in a day. So you design your time by making part of your time more productive. Otherwise, it would be wasted. The second system of builders is input or habit system. Your results are shaped by what you consume. Yes, what you watch, what you listen to, what you spend time with, what you read, the kind of information you absorb. These affect and shape your habits. And the problem is that constant social media, noise, comparison, these are all distractions. These all feed into your input system. So you need to design your input system by setting learning time daily. You limit entertainment windows, right? Perhaps it can be for some few minutes, you are done, you come back to be more productive. And then you curate your environment. Yes, when you know that this is a distraction to you, you move it out because it is always better to avoid temptation than to wait and overcome it. No, it is wiser to avoid it so that you don't interact or it doesn't come along your way. At the end of the day, you find out that what you consume, your input system, these are things that happen to you daily without thinking. So you find out that, oh, today I've not read, today I've not exercised, today I've not studied, today I've not reflected, and it now becomes part of you. It now becomes part of your identity. This is because your input shapes your thinking and your habits automate your progress. The third system that builders build is work system because most people rely on motivation, but builders rely on repetition. And the problem here is that most people say, I will do it when I feel like doing it. The solution is that you attach action to your triggers. For example, after waking up, you read 15 minutes. After lunch, you study, you work. After before bed, you reflect, you read. You are now adding, attaching action to your triggers. And how do you stay productive? You block time for deep work, you prioritize certain tasks, you execute anything you want to do, anything you want to achieve with structure. And most at times you start your day with more productivity. So if you know that this is my target for the day, you start with it so that you don't react to certain things that come your way and you end up not achieving your daily targets, because without this, effort becomes scattered, but consistency comes from structure. And as I always share with you, consistency would always beat intensity. The fourth system of builders is a feedback system. This is a system they use to correct and to improve, because this is where most people sometimes also fail. They act, but they never review, they never reflect. And the problem is that you would always repeat the same mistakes. So the solution here is that you should have a weekly review system. You review what worked, you review what failed, You review what must I change. You review what should improve. Perhaps it could be that your environment is distraction filled. Your environment silently controls your behavior. So you design your environment, you remove distraction, you create focused spaces for work, and then you separate work from rest zones, right? Because discipline becomes easier in a right environment. Without feedback, there is no growth. So you need to set time to reflect, you need to set time to plan, because this avoid wastage of time and it helps you achieve your tasks, eliminating the pain or anything that would distract you from achieving your tasks, because it's already planned and you are working now according to plan. Yes, it's best to be structured. As believers, I believe it's best to be structured, but sometimes we are led by the spirit. But always prepare, be structured, live your life according to systems and plans. Yes. Now ask yourself, what system is producing my current results? Then you design any improvements in those systems. Instead of saying, I need to be more productive, you now create a system. I will work 90 minutes deep focus, block time every morning for active work so that I become more productive. So your old system would have been you wake up, you pick your phone, you delay, you rush to work. But now your new system will be that you wake up, no phone, 60, 90 minutes of deep focused work block, and then you have a structured start. Small system changes create massive life shifts. So you need to start now. Create your system that you desire. This is now your Ediya Pill weekly self-governance audit. Ask yourself, what systems are currently shaping my life? Which system is failing me the most? What systems must I redesign immediately? And then what one system will I commit to improve my life, to improve my inner structure, to become better this week? And then you start working and building it. Your life, as I shared, is not random. Your life is designed. And the question here is, are you the designer of your life, or are you leaving it to systems you never chose? Because builders choose to design their life. Builders are intentional about their priorities. They are intentional about the system that will help them create that priority, because your system will create inconsistency. Your system will allow you to be more consistent in the action you take, and then consistency will create the result you desire, because the future you create is the future you inhabit. This is your Ediya Pill dosage for system thinking and how to design your life based on thinking. I am Ediya Francis Kwame, and this is Ediya Pill, where we don't just grow, no, we transform and we live fulfilled. Embrace the holistic journey and let's create the life that our now and future self will be thankful and proud of. Always remember, Ediya Pill, your dosage to holistic living. Thank you very much for watching this episode 6 of the Mental Recalibration series, and see you in our next subsequent episodes. Bye for now.